This is a slow motion flip through, so you can see what's included in our Sunday school guide inspired by the methods of Charlotte Mason. This is term 1, which covers stories from Genesis 1 to 11. Now the first page is just some quotes and ideas as you begin. Maybe you're transitioning from a traditional Sunday school or children's church or traditional family devotions, and so these are some things to keep in mind as you begin. Next page is our vision and goals. These are helpful if you are presenting this guide to church leadership for approval. There's also a brief overview of narration, what it is, why we do it, and then the same for conversation and application. Just a few tips as you prepare. Here's our supply list. These are things that you would need for the whole term. Some of them are every week, some of them are just on special occasions. There are ideas for including the family, a list of Bible readings for this term, and special thanks. Now this page is a printable handout that you can give to parents if you're using this guide in a church setting. It includes all of the Bible readings for this term, our hymn study lyrics so they can learn the hymn with their children at home if they'd like, and the memory verse so they can learn that at home with their children as well. And then just several ideas to include the family. So here is lesson 1. At the top says week 1, and it gives you the reference for the Bible story. There's a painting that goes along with the story if you choose to do picture study. And then you just go right down the column, connect and pray with the children. Prayer book, that is a photo album of people that we're praying for. We invite the children to pray for someone from that book. Then hymn study, the lyrics for this term's hymn are on the next page. It's all creatures of our God and King. And then the recitation verse or the memory verse, which for this term is the Lord's Prayer. Then set the scene. Now, typically at this part of the lesson, there would be a heading that says remember, and you would ask the children, what do you remember from the story last week? But since this is week 1 of term 1, we don't have that on this page. There's just a couple of words you might need to define before you share the story with the children. And here is the story. Now in the guide, we print it in the ESV. You can of course use any beautiful language version that you prefer or that your church prefers. It's just printed here so that you can have it easily accessible as you prepare your lesson. But as you can see on the notes on this page, we do encourage you to read the story from an actual Bible. That is so the children connect what you're reading with God's word and not just a piece of paper that you're holding. And then the final page of the lesson gives you the prompt to have the children narrate, asking them to tell back the story in their own words. Then after narration, we have a concrete project. Now you can choose one of these. There are several options that help make the story concrete, make it come alive, reinforce it. And then you have the optional conversation and application. Now these questions are open-ended. They are great questions for letting the children do the work and discover things about themselves and things about God in the story. These are optional, I say, because sometimes they're a bit much for younger ages. In our children's church, we have a lot of 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds. So we don't do much with these questions unless it's, for example, like if we're setting up the Bible story with Legos. While the kids are building, I might ask a couple of these questions, like, what do you think it might have felt like for this character when this happened? But if you have older students, they are great questions for deep conversation and application. Then we finish up with nature study, going outside into God's creation. If your time is limited, we recommend just a nature walk around the churchyard, asking the children, what do you notice? And then a compassion project. So if the children have drawn something from nature while you are on your nature walk, or if they have drawn a picture of the Bible story, we recommend those projects be done on sturdy paper folded to make a card. So you can then, for the compassion project, write a note inside the card and mail it to someone from your prayer book or give it to someone after church. And then their art project has an actual use instead of just going home and going in the trash. So that is term 1. Thanks for watching.